During the Nintendo Switch 2 Direct, it was revealed that The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom were getting Switch 2 editions, which will be unique remasters that were exclusive to Switch 1 titles. In the showcase of the two entries, enhanced resolution and frame rates would be the main draw, with both games supporting HDR, faster load times, and save data transfer from the original game. A feature unique to the Zelda games will also be Zelda Notes, a service on the Nintendo Switch smart device app designed to provide a more streamlined gameplay experience via voice navigation and finding hidden shrines and Koroks, quote-unquote voice memories, narrating notes across the world instead of just having to read them yourself, which also tell stories from characters like Zelda and King Rauru. Other new features will include auto-build sharing, item sharing, photo studio, my play data, global play data, and achievement medals, daily bonus spins, and amiibo scan history with additional uses. Though I highlighted the Zelda Switch 2 editions, other games getting these editions will be Mario Party Jambouree with new camera and mouse controller specific minigames, Kirby and the Forgotten Land with a new story called Star-Crossed World, Metroid Prime 4 Beyond offering mouse controls, and Pokemon Legends ZA, which doesn't seem to add anything more just yet other than enhanced visuals and frame rates. With the potential for more Switch 1 games being remastered and improved upon, Fire Emblem Three Houses strikes me as a candidate for getting a Switch 2 edition. Jambouree, Kirby, and the Zelda games are offering not just better frame rates and resolutions, but brand new features. So the question about Three Houses becomes, what would an HD remaster look like based on the Switch 2 editions that were announced already, and why does Three Houses deserve to have one? First, let's talk about the limitations of a title like this. I hesitate to bring up Fire Emblem Engage in this video because Intelligent Systems used their own in-house engine to build that game, whereas Koei Tecmo had the Warriors engine. So it's not like Intelligent Systems could make the Switch 2 edition of Three Houses with Engage's parts. This would be something Koei Tecmo would have to do themselves. Not to mention, Koei Tecmo is already working on Hyrule Warriors 3 and has other games to work on, probably. So if this were to ever happen, Koei Tecmo would be producing it. Now, sales. Fire Emblem enjoyed its 4.1 million copies sold of Three Houses as of 2022, and Engage's weaker performing but still noteworthy 1.6 million as of March 2023, the end of Nintendo's fiscal year. Take into consideration that Three Houses, being the series' strongest selling game ever, is the 36th best-selling game on the console. Sales aren't the be-all end-all for a Switch 2 remake, but if we look at the games already announced for a Switch 2 remake, it's an important factor. Kirby and the Forgotten Land has sold a staggering 7.5 million copies, making it the best-selling Kirby game of all time and the 26th best-selling game on the console. While it's not hitting those numbers, Three Houses being the best-selling game in the series gives confidence that a Switch 2 edition would be monetarily successful. In addition to this, because all the assets and upgrades made for Three Hopes exist now, production would be easier than starting a new game from scratch, meaning that Koei Tecmo, the lead developers of the game, could in theory work on this title, while Intelligent Systems continues to develop new Fire Emblem games on their in-house Unity engine that Engage was made with. This would actually be a repeat of history, as Koei Tecmo was selected to develop a Fire Emblem game for the Switch in the console's early years because Intelligent Systems was in fact working on their own engine for future games. And similar to Three Houses' release early into the Switch's lifespan, Three Houses Switch 2 edition could drop early into the Switch 2's lifespan. Three Houses releasing in 2019 looks terrible and has only aged worse as time goes on. It was canned for looking like a PS3 title even back then. Visuals weren't actually not a major priority at the time for Koei Tecmo, the lead developers of the game, but a graphical upgrade is sorely needed. The potential for a better looking game was showcased in Fire Emblem Warriors 3 Hopes, taking the same engine but improving on the visuals, best seen in the character models and in cutscenes like in supports. Three Houses had long load times as well, which contributed to longer playtime by just waiting for the monastery sections to actually start. Given that this specific issue was highlighted in the Switch 2 editions for the Zelda games, Three Houses would also greatly benefit from this. A Switch 2 edition could potentially resolve a rushed production from the original game. This might be old news by now, but Three Houses developers had to delay the game twice just so its release date could be set in stone. It was first unveiled in a Fire Emblem Direct from February 2017 as Fire Emblem for Nintendo Switch working title, and said to come out sometime in 2018 with no footage included. Then in E3 2018, the game was shown in its rough state with a spring 2019 release, which was then moved during a February 2019 Direct to its final date of July 26th of that same year, effectively going from a spring to a summer release. The game's page on the cutting room floor is a huge one compared to other Fire Emblem games as of this video, and I did a video about this a while back if you're interested in watching. New features. If Kirby and the Forgotten Land is anything to go by, a Switch 2 edition will offer the chance for Three Houses to have new features and content. I want to be careful with the idea or hopes for added content here, because even though the NS2 concept justifies the existence of a definitive edition for Three Houses now, it's still Koei Tecmo Tecmo and Intelligent Systems, who sometimes make questionable choices in these games. So all my ideas are tempered expectations. It's entirely possible that they just phone it in and boost frame rate, resolution, and load times, and that would be enough to sell it. So here are just a handful of ideas that I think are somewhat plausible. I do believe there is some room to add certain characters and classes that are realistic for a second go at Three Houses. There is some class disparity already, an infantry equivalent to Swordmaster or Warrior, like Halberdier, or to remove the gender restrictions from some classes, like Hero, which had never been gender locked in the series until Three Houses. Playable Judith for Verdant Wind is an obvious one, given the path lacks any noticeable unique player character besides Claude. She's an ally NPC that joins you on the sidelines of the war early in Part 2 and remains there until the end, constantly providing banter. Give her plot armor for the story, a paralogue, some support with the Golden Deer, and voila! Anna could be given supports to complete her character as well, including a few paired endings if you want to go the extra mile. And the game can even use her actual unused lines for group tasks done with partners whom she has a C support and up with. Her implementation in this game in particular has always stood up for the wrong reasons, so this opportunity would be a good chance to address that. Not that this would be worth including, but Count Bergles, Hevering, Varley, and Holst were all name-dropped but never shown in the game, where in hopes they have important roles in the story. There's potential for them to serve as bonus content for now, more so as interviews for Hopes revealed many of them were conceptualized in Three Houses originally. There's an immense amount of cut content hiding in Three Houses, and if I had to pick one cut monastery activity to restore, I'd pick horse racing or mounted training. The possibility of exploring otherwise completely unseen regions from the map is very appealing to me. There is a crazy amount of unused dialogue as well, so finding a use for those since they already exist would be cool too. Bug fixes. I'm going to be echoing an old video of mine theorizing on what a definitive Three Houses edition would look like because my thoughts are kind of the same. With definitive editions comes the chance to clean up on bugs. It's easy to say just fix everything, which I mean probably yes, but if I'm Koei Tecmo and I'm fixing what was discovered, I would prioritize the annoying and game-breaking bugs first. The Monday mission skip bug and the weapon accessory bug are two that come to mind. I'd fix up the visual mishap with the Fallen Star's status as well. Silence is long due for a fix, given it doesn't even work properly. As far as useful bugs are concerned, while these are all clearly unintentional and also useful, I think they're worth removing. The Infinite Dancer bug, Infinite Month, Infinite Money, and Renown should be fixed. These are helpful, but having infinites of anything unintentionally is game-breaking. Minor oversights like the Ashen Wolf's Japanese-only death screams and Odessa's death quote would be a nice fix too. Many rare and uncommon bugs and glitches do exist in the game, but the ones I mentioned here are the most important in my opinion. User interface. Disregarding some personal preferences, I do think there are a couple things that could be made more clear. You can't actually view the amount of professor level points needed to level up until you're literally in a battle, and that gets annoying. For example, I can't tell how many fights I need to engage in to perfect a class, even though the gauge is right there. I also think there are some accessibility issues that the game could stand to resolve. The text is notoriously tiny, and there should be an option to make them bigger. And finally, providing more optimal fast travel mechanics and general quality of life upgrades that Three Hopes and Engage provided would be much appreciated. Unfortunately, if the Zelda NS2 editions are anything to go by, DLC would not be included to new players of Three Houses. Save data transfer means that only existing Three Houses save files will be able to carry over, including any DLC purchased. Now that I've laid out several points to justify a Three Houses Switch 2 edition, the question is now, should Nintendo, Intelligent Systems, and Koei Tecmo spend their time and resources on it? We've gone over sales figures, the benefits of a graphical overhaul, and the chance for Three Houses to fill in some missing pieces in its development with now already existing assets, as well as a chance to patch up some UI and QOL elements. Like in the past, a Three Houses Switch 2 edition could justify its existence since it's being developed by Koei Tecmo, while Intelligent Systems works on a new Fire Emblem game. I was thinking about reasons why this game shouldn't happen for the sake of argument, but to be completely honest, I don't really have any argument that holds water besides that it's up to KT or IS to do it or not. It is entirely possible that their time with Fodlin is finished. Updating Three Houses for the Switch 2 would require a lot of graphical overhaul to make it look nice, which to be honest is way easier to do for Engage since it's more recent and looks better and is made on a more flexible engine. Koei Tecmo is already working on other games, and Intelligent Systems has its own new engine that is presumably going to be used to develop future Fire Emblem titles, and hopefully remakes. If re-releasing Three Houses isn't a priority for them and they want to move on, then that's that. I don't know how much Fire Emblem Heroes' over $1 billion in revenue contributes to the budgets for new Fire Emblem titles, but I don't think they need to be relying on Three Houses' success for a third time. And as much as I would instantly love it and be so thrilled to see any new content about Three Houses or some kind of extension of Three Hopes, I'm also cool with leaving Fodlin behind. It's also worth noting that Fire Emblem is already enjoying re-releases at this moment. Sacred Stones just dropped on NSO, Path of Radiance is coming to the Switch 2's NSO, and Three Houses will be playable on the Switch 2 anyway. So Fire Emblem still has games in circulation. But let me know in the comments down below what you think of a Three Houses NS2 edition, and do you think this game deserves it or not? Thanks for watching, deuces.